Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sterling. Wherever you're joining us from worldwide, it's a pleasure to get together here every week. For today's show, I thought we'd go through some of the energetic levels of spirit, touch on that a little bit, some of the highest levels and lowest levels, give people some perspective on those concepts, how it works. Also cover a top 34 countdown of frequently asked questions. And these are compiled from hundreds of questions we receive on the community board. So thanks again for all the wonderful support and the great sophisticated questions that we're getting. So just remember that if you find these videos helpful, remember to like, subscribe, share. Also hit the notification bell so you know when we're uploading videos. And further, if you'd like to contact me for a session, it's very easy, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look for the book online tab. I thought I'd also mention that we're still running a contest. Every time we reach 1,000 subscribers, the next 1,000 level is 18,000 subscribers. I'm giving away a free half-hour session with myself, as well as Linda Grindle is giving away a free half-hour session. And we thank Linda for the wonderful support in that area. That's a great gesture. So with no further ado, I will add one other item here, that at the 20,000 level of subscribers, we'll actually be giving away a free iPhone, Apple iPhone or Apple iPad. It will be the choice of the winner, but I'll give you more details on that contest in coming weeks. And that's when we're going to reach the 20,000 level subscriber. If you want to be involved in any of these contests, the way we select the winners is we select them from the individuals that place comments on these shows, starting with the word love. And it's important to note you do have to be a subscriber to the channel in order to be a winner. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's jump into today's topic, what I call spirit level or energetic levels. Now, there's all types of energetic levels, both on this side on Earth, as well as there are in heaven. And, people refer to things like fallen angels or ghosts and those kinds of things. But let's talk a little bit about that. First off, what is a fallen angel? Well, interestingly, that term fallen angel is not actually even used in the Bible. But what it is, it's actually an angel that decided not to follow the laws or the rules of the one force or God, certainly doesn't live in love. And so that angel is not a high vibrational level. Now, can you track low levels of energy here when you're on Earth as well as when you're on the other side? Certainly. There are spirits that exist at all levels of energy, and certainly very low energetic individuals or spirits can commit evil acts. But I get the question all the time, is there a devil? Can you sell your soul to the devil? No. So don't be concerned about that. But certainly you want to be keep your level of vibration high, and love is the most important factor in that. And if you do find yourself attracted to low levels of energy, obviously a little bit more spiritual work is needed on that. Now, what can cause someone to be vibrationally low in energy? Well, somebody can have drug problems. It might be drugs or alcoholism, or maybe it's a life trauma, a traumatic experience, and there might be some things you have to work through there. But those can certainly reduce your energetic level and cause individuals or even spirits to come around. One of the easiest techniques is to say a quick protective prayer, and you can actually ask spirits to stand back. It's that common and that easy. So a little bit of work is required here. There's certainly all different levels of energetic beings on the planet here and on the other side, but it's kind of important to know what you're dealing with. The other question I get is that, when spirits come close to me, I get a very odd feeling. Well, all types of spirits, if they come close to you and they try to kind of connect with you, sometimes that will cause your heart to race, or you may start to feel depression or anxiety. So those are kind of some clues as what type of spirit's coming close to you. Again, protective prayers and asking spirits to stand back is always a good thing. So hopefully this helps you from kind of a high level. I know I hear every once in a while people enter abandoned buildings or haunted houses and get very odd feelings. And those are spirits obviously trying to come close to you. They want to experience you. I have called them prankster spirits in the past. Certainly a lot of prankster spirits out there. They like to play jokes, just as there are people here on Earth. But then you do have certainly low energetic beings and spirits that are aligned with doing evil acts, and that happens here on the planet as it does on the other side. But do not be concerned about a devil or selling your soul to a devil. That doesn't exist. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful, just giving you a little bit of a benchmark and some guidelines around high levels of spiritual energy and low levels of spiritual energy. And we could certainly spend more time in future shows going into greater detail, but I kind of want to start off with some of those important points around this topic. So now let's get into the top 34 countdown to frequently asked questions. And again, thanks very much for all the individuals that contributed, hundreds of questions to sort through. So we hope you find these helpful. Number 34 in the countdown: will the 8 families who control more money than 80% of the rest of humanity ever have their wealth redistributed? I don't see it redistributed, but I do see over the next 4 years here or so, I see much better transparency of the way money is moved through the economy and the way it sponsors congressmen, congresspeople, and helps to kind of leverage government. The analogy for me is almost when you go to a NASCAR race or a Formula One race and you see the drivers in their jumpsuits and they have a list of all the sponsors. So it's very easy to see who's sponsoring that individual. Those are the kinds of things we're going to see. It's going to be much more transparency, understanding who's paying for these individuals and who's sponsoring them. So maybe not direct redistribution of wealth, but it'll certainly be less effect on how that wealth leverages the economy and people in Congress and government. Number 33, can you explain the concept of higher self? Sure. I mean, the higher self is actually your soul. That's your complete entity that moves from lifetime to lifetime. So as you transition to the other side, that is your soul. That's your higher self. And that higher self goes through all the lessons and the learning, and you carry that through lifetime to lifetime. Number 32, is our subconscious mind the same as our higher self, or are they separate, different entities? They're actually separate. The subconscious mind is actually the bridge between your higher self and the here and now. So a little bit of a communication bridge, but your higher self is the soul. Your subconscious mind is more of almost that communication bridge between your higher self and the here and now. Number 31, some people are difficult and disgruntled all their lives. In the process, they push their family members away. What's the point and lessons of them choosing a life like that? Well, the sole purpose is really not to push people away per se, but they came down here to Earth to learn very specific life lessons about love and meaning of family. And remember, these are very specific life lessons we put on our blueprint. So the artifact you see of them pushing away people, that is all part of the construct of the life lesson they came down here to learn. And by the way, everybody grows as they go through their lifetime. So no one chooses to be stuck in one modality. They do grow, but that's all part of the life path. Number 30, will millennials, Gen Z, young adults ever be able to financially secure, like previous generations before us, wealth? Yes. What I see, and I've talked about this before, is over the next 3 decades here, the next 30 years, is a very important healing part of the planet. I do see major things happening over the next decade here that's going to help millennials, Gen Z, young adults kind of achieve more quality and ability to enjoy things like housing and purchasing home. But it's important to understand that the 3 decades we're going through right now are a very important healing process, a recalibration from the earth, the planet, the economy, people. So, the simple answer is yes to whoever asked this question. Very significant progress over the next 10 years, but remember, it's an overall 30-year process for the planet. 29, is the birth rate declining because souls don't want to reincarnate? Do you see another baby boom in the future? Well, yes, I mean, this is all part of the transition, the shift the Earth's going through right now. I do, interestingly enough, see another baby boom in the next 10 to 20 years here. We'll see in the next 10, 20 years here, we'll see a baby boom cycle. Number 28, psychics have predicted a major earthquake on the New Madrid Fault. What do you see? Well, the New Madrid Fault, that references here in the US, and I think there's 8 states that are tied in with the New Madrid Fault, like Missouri and Arkansas, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee, but it's like an 8-state region. I do see earthquakes in the magnitudes of 6, 7, and even very close to 8. So there are some major earthquakes, but everybody's going to get through it. But I do see nationwide, we're going to have a lot of earthquakes, even worldwide. But there are some major quakes coming up in the New Madrid Fault. Absolutely. 27. Does PTSD make it harder to connect with our spiritual guides, angels, and everyone that has crossed over? Yes. The simple answer is that anytime you have any kind of stress or depression or PTSD, what that does is that shuts down your communication channel to the other side. And in fact, it really shuts down all creativity, all innovation, all imagination. But that's that same channel that's connected to the universe where your guides and angels are, and family members, even your pets and animals. So yes, PTSD certainly can make it hard to experience and communicate with your guides and angels. Number 26 in our top 34 countdown. If we time travel back and we can't exist at two places at the same time, what would happen? Well, maybe a little confusion in this question. Time travel relates to an environment where you have nonlinear time, and time is nonlinear in heaven. Your spirit and soul exist at one place at one time. You can certainly move forward and backward in time in a nonlinear time environment on the other side. But I think this person was misunderstanding that you could somehow exist in two places at one time, and you can't. Number 25, do pixies and fairies exist, or are they just folklore? No, they absolutely exist. They're they're lower forms of energy. I talk about prankster spirits all the time, but they do exist in many areas of the world. There are lower forms of energy, and they're certainly in the spiritual dimension. Number 24, was Jeffrey Epstein a spy? No, not exactly. But he was at the crossroads between a lot of nations and a lot of organizations and a lot of money laundering. So in that way, he had a very dangerous lifestyle, and this really places life at very great risk. So not directly a spy, but certainly at the intersection of a lot of information that put him in a very dangerous position, put his life at risk. Number 23, is heaven comprised of all species, or does each planet have their own heaven? All species exist in heaven, which is really just another dimension. So there's no different forms of heaven. 22, in our top 34 countdown, when we leave our bodies at night, are we in charge of that decision, or do our guides, angels sometimes come to take us? Well, this is always an agreement between you and your angels and your spiritual guides. If you want to astral travel, for example, the only time where it's more or less maybe not your decision, if that's your exit point, in which case, your angels still work with you on that exit point. There's always a little bit of latitude, but you're really, prior to being an exit point, you're always in charge of that decision in conjunction with your angels and guides. Number 21, what do you see coming for Cuba? Well, unfortunately, I see major instability over the next 5-year period, and I see a lot of competing interests from 3 major countries trying to get in and help leverage the situation. And those 3 countries are the US, China, and Russia. So it looks to me like they're going to make, it looks to me like they'll be very close to a democracy by 2025. But certainly a lot of unrest over the next 5-year period, but it's leading to a good place. So I congratulate all the people of Cuba. They're in our hearts and prayers, but it looks like there's going to be 3 competing countries in the process, and it's going to take a little bit of time for all this to settle out and become a democracy. 20. Question 20, why do some large dogs seem to let you know when it's their time to go by lying down and refusing to get up? Combination of things here. This person called out large dogs. Many large dogs have arthritic problems and bone problems. So as a natural part of their health and their decline, they certainly start sitting down more. Their animals are also keyed into their life path and when their exit point's coming up. So you get a little bit of both there, a little bit of arthritic pain and pain that makes them want to sit down more, but also the understanding of that, an exit point is coming up. It's not always the case, but you can certainly understand by talking with your vet if there's other medical issues going on. But The sitting down can have multiple reasons. 19, as more articles are written on UFO sightings by our military, will our military be combative or open to friendly contacts? So interesting enough, our military is also right now completely in contact with our ET friends and a lot of the UFOs and a lot of things going on. So there already is friendly contact. However, a lot of the military worldwide and in many nations has been sworn to secrecy by our ET friends not to come out in public. They will come out in public when the timing's right, but you can see about all the chaos that's going on in the world that the timing's not right. So our military is already friendly to ETs and a lot of the UFO sightings, but certainly not talking about it as much. Number 18, our countdown. When we reincarnate, do we come back with self-awareness gained in our last lifetime, or when presented with the same or similar situations and addictions, do we respond the same way? We always evolve from lifetime to lifetime, so you never really respond the same way. You might come into multiple lifetimes and want to have some sort of a drug infliction. That's very possible, but you always evolve from lifetime to lifetime, and you do respond in a different way. It's always an evolution. Number 17 in our countdown. As you complete your life mission that you came here to learn or experience, will you die, or can your life continue on? Perhaps help others with what you've learned. Is there physical life beyond the lessons? Well, first off, you never leave this life until you complete your life path lessons. Now, you may complete some of the major life lessons on your path, but then what you're supposed to do is then move forward and helping others effectively pay it forward. So I think the nature of this question was, if you complete your life mission, will you then leave or die? A little bit of an oxymoron, because you never really complete your life lesson or blueprint until you do exit. So hopefully that's helpful. Number 16 on our countdown, do our departed pets get types of training on the other side? Well, they certainly do. They certainly experience growth on the other side. Remember, all animals are part of the angelic realm, come down with unconditional love, and they come down here to teach humankind lessons, and they help with our journey. But they certainly do foster other animals on the other side and learn and gain more experiences. So in effect, they do go through some training. Absolutely. 15. My question is, do aliens have vanity and shame like we do, or is this just a human trait? Well, all ETs, all aliens have a consciousness and a little bit of ego that makes them certainly want to look and do their best. However, this is not true. There are other artifacts of ETs, which are what I call the AI-powered ETs or artificial intelligence ETs, which are more hybrids, and they're used to kind of explore other worlds and galaxies. Obviously, they don't have egos or vanity, but for all the other alien and ET species, they do. 14. Do you think the ongoing offerings of shows related to ETs and their presence on this planet now and in an ancient past have been inspired by the ETs themselves, or to get humans to contemplate what eventual contact might be like? Shows such as Ancient Aliens have made it easier to get us to the point of understanding without being call that as nuts. Well, yes, ETs can communicate with people the same way that our spirits and guides can, and they do come through a very similar channel. And yes, many people involved in the creative industries channel the other side. And yes, ETs and aliens have channeled a lot of the information and pointed individuals to certain places to inspire them to kind of bring the information out. So all this is part of an ongoing process that is all part of the larger universal plan. Number 13, our countdown, will Jeff Bezos' space launch exploration be successful? Yes, he will have several missions, just like Richard Branson. I do see, minor issues coming up. I'll call it minor technical issues coming up, with both of the efforts going into space. But there are things like loss of communication for periods of time when the vehicles are in orbit, that kind of a thing. But yes, they're certainly going to make progress and be successful. Number 12 in the countdown, are the medical breakthroughs such as gene splicing part of our life path and evolution, or are we trying to make better vehicles for our souls so we can live longer? Is this part of our life path and evolutionary for mankind? Well, yes, All the things I've talked about in terms of gene editing and gene splicing, that's all part of everyone's life path. Everyone that's down here on the planet agreed to be down here at this time. They certainly will help humankind evolve, and it is evolutionary. And in fact, a lot of the technology has been provided by our ET friends. So yes. 11, is disease a definite part of our journey, or is it just the human physical form is not perfect? Disease is always a part of our life path. There's always lessons learned in every disease that we go through. We actually place them on our life path. But remember, every individual's life path intersects and intermingles with others' life paths. So for example, it goes down even to the doctors that may treat you and the things they learn that then helps other individuals. So disease is a part of our life path. It's a part of our journey. And sometimes certain diseases can cause life traumas, but then we're always meant to get through them and get to the light, the end of the tunnel, if you will, and then pay that forward to help others. Number 10, Sterling, what will come of the current efforts of the Republicans to restrict voters with new laws? So, most importantly, I do see the Voting Rights Act, or the For the People Act. I do see that passing, but it's later in 2022, next year. And I see 4 revisions coming on that Voter Rights Act, or that For the People Act. So I do see 4 very distinct revisions and kind of negotiations, but will eventually pass, and it'll pass prior to the end of 2022, prior to the elections that we'll have that year. Number 9 in our countdown, how do we know the Pleiadians are real? Well, not everybody understands they're real because not everybody has experienced them or communicates with them. They communicate at a very high level, just like angels and guides do. They will make themselves known, and I saw very distinctly over the next 5 years here, within 5 years, a lot of the ET visitations will be made very, very public. Pleiadians will certainly be part of that, but not everybody communicates with them. So I guess I wouldn't worry if you're not really sure if they're real or not. I would say stay tuned. 8, do you think the earthquake last week near the Nevada-California border was the earthquake you predicted, or you'll still see an earthquake happening for Central California? Well, yeah, this was certainly one of the big ones that my guides and angels had forecast on Central California, right around the midsummer. It was June, July kind of time frame. I think it occurred July 8th. My understanding from my team is that there's going to be a few more major earthquakes here in Central California. The good news is that each one of these earthquakes tends to relieve a certain amount of pressure in the earth. So, the more reasonable or moderate earthquakes we have, the better it's going to be for avoiding a very large one. But we're still going to have earthquakes in the 6 and 7 range, and we'll still see some in California. So everybody be prepared. It just means making sure you have water and blankets and flashlights and some canned food on hand. So be prepared. Number 7, Congress added money to the Affordable Care Act for only 2 years. Will they be adding money to it in the new budget proposal? Yes. And I see this coming in multiple stages. So it's almost like they add money to the Affordable Care Act in tranches, if you will. It's almost like being attached to other bills. So they will provide continued funding for it. They will. Number 6 in our top 34 countdown, will the January 6, 2021 investigation into the insurrection be successful? Yes, well, my definition of success is that the commission that Nancy Pelosi is operating right now and running, that will be very successful in showing the trail and all the relationships that led up to the insurrection, all the individuals that were responsible and involved. So in that way, it'll be successful in providing a real script, if you will, kind of a reference template, a book as to how everything took place and who was involved. So in that sense, it's going to be successful. Number 5 in our countdown, what does the future hold for the cannabis industry? So I see widespread continued success for the cannabis industry, both in kind of practical applications, whether it's it's even pain management or it's other types of hemp products, if you will. But it will be very successful. And it's interesting, our ancestors all understood that this was the case, even going back to the ancient Chinese like 10,000 years ago. So it will be successful going forward in a multiple of industry areas. Number 4, will Matt Gaetz be arrested soon? what I see on that is a very significant arrest coming up in 45 to 60 days. So it almost puts us like, end of August into September, so to speak. But, I'm being told next 45 to 60 days, we'll see an arrest, a lot of information that's already been garnered, and you'll see that coming to the public. Number 3 in the countdown is Republican Party shrinking. Yes, the formal Republican Party, as everybody knew it, and the numbers of people in it is definitely shrinking. You're certainly seeing that offset in the media by some very vocal proponents of 45. But yes, we're going to see that. We're seeing a shrinking, and that's leading to some good outcomes in our elections for Democrats. Absolutely. Number 2, do you see anything coming up next week? Well, I do see several continued major weather events in Europe and also the East Coast of the United States. I unfortunately do see a few more attempted bombings going on here nationwide. We saw the near bombing and the arrest that happened here this week recently that was foiled by the FBI. I do see more continued bombing attempts. I do see Nancy Pelosi moving very aggressively forward the January 6th commission, and also the addition, looks like, of another GOP senator to that commission. And I do see Alan Weisselberg's team still negotiating with the federal government and the SDNY. And it looks to me like we're going to see some new information coming out on the negotiation. I do see Alan Weisselberg and his team holding most of the cards on behalf of the 45 family. And so some of the best deals, if you will be cut with the federal government and the SDNY in exchange for his testimony and his insights. And I'll say that what I see coming up from Weisselberg will certainly be much more influential in terms of the information being shared. It's almost like tenfold more important information than would even be coming from the rest of the 45 family. And number 1 on our top countdown, do you have any information coming from your guides that they want to share for this week? They do. Be true to yourself and allow others to take their best life path. So stay focused on your life path. So again, be true to yourself and allow others to take their best life path and stay focused on your life path. So hopefully that was helpful. It's great getting together with you every week. As always, if you need to reach me to book a session, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look for the book online tab. And I'm going to wish everybody a lot of goodwill and a lot of love. And I will be doing a show with Linda Grindle this weekend. I'll probably be recording that on Sunday, July 18th. And look forward to seeing everybody on that show as well. Everybody, take care. All the best.